If you're in the market for a mid-size SUV that's priced under 180,000 ringgit, the Honda CR-V and Mazda CX-5 will definitely come to mind. But there is also a very formidable offering from Volkswagen, and it is none other than the Tiguan. In Malaysia, the Tiguan is only available with a 1.4-litre turbocharged engine, but we'll get to that in a second. You get to choose between the Comfort line and the Highline, and the one next to me is the Tiguan Highline. It's locally assembled and priced at 170,000 ringgit. In terms of pricing, this puts it right up there in the same league as the top-spec Honda CR-V Premium, and it's still 5,000 ringgit cheaper than the Mazda CX-5 diesel all-wheel drive. Of the three, I think the Tiguan looks the least attractive, but that's not to say that it's a bad looker. It's quite handsome, just not as handsome as the CR-V. Between this Highline and the Comfort line though, this one is much better looking thanks to this rather imposing full LED adaptive headlights and chromed grille. The Comfort line gets those ugly halogen reflectors and doesn't look premium enough in my opinion, but it's 20,000 ringgit cheaper and loses out on quite a bit of kit. Unless you're tight on a budget, this Highline is the one to get. You can accessorize it as well. Our test unit here comes with a chrome kit and leisure kit. For about 1,000 ringgit, the chrome kit includes a sleek chrome sleeve for the exhaust tips, sport pedal caps, Tiguan scuff plates, as well as a nice chrome tailgate trim. The 1,400 ringgit leisure kit includes a roof rack with a single bicycle mount as well as a flexible boot tray. Externally, this car gets keyless entry with push start, 18-inch alloys and front parking sensors over the Comfort line. The roof rails you see here are finished in silver, but those on the Comfort line are finished in black. At the back, they both get the same LED combination tail lamps. In terms of size, the Tiguan is shorter and smaller than the CR-V and CX-5, but that also means that it weighs less and should drive better. The wheelbase though is longer than the CR-V and much longer than the older Tiguan, which means there should be more room inside. Speaking of which, let's check out the cabin. In here, regardless of how much you like the CX-5 and CR-V, the Tiguan's interior design is really one of the best built and best looking ones out there. You've got soft touch materials used throughout the cabin and everything feels solidly put together. However, I must say that the CX-5 interior build quality really stacks up and it can really give this Tiguan a run for its money. What I really like about this car is that it comes with this 12.3-inch LCD active info display and it's only available in this Highline model. It's very similar to the Audi virtual cockpit, but it's much less fanciful here. You can also bring up the GPS navigation in between the two gauges, so it really looks nice. And tell me, what other car in this price bracket does that? There's also the new 8-inch Discover Media head unit that I like. It looks much better than the older unit simply because it has that bezel-less look and the system is much more responsive and legible under all lighting conditions. With App Connect as standard, it supports Apple CarPlay, Android Auto and Mirror Link functionalities. I've already done a short video explaining how this works, so be sure to click on that link in the description box below. Overall, the dashboard is very classic Volkswagen, which means nothing really stands out apart from these two, and it also means there's nothing to complain about. Everything is where it should be, and it even comes with this tri-zone climate control, electric parking brake, and even an auto parking system. As a family car, practicality and storage space rank really highly in the list of priorities. And for that, the Tiguan scores very highly. There's lots of compartments for you to keep your belongings, and the door cards even fit my big water bottle. For smaller items, there's a compartment built into the dashboard, and the center tunnel features two mechanized cup holders. I cannot stress how genius of a feature this is. Beautiful. The Highline gets nice supportive leather seats and it even looks good as well. However, only the driver's side gets powered and memory function. The Comfort line on the other hand gets regular fabric seats. Back here, knee room is up by 29mm thanks to the longer wheelbase. That's my driving position right there. And the rear seats slide up to 180 millimeters for more legroom or more boot space depending on your requirements. As an added bonus, this foldable tray comes as standard, just like in an airplane. And a little FYI, this was available in the older Tiguan as well. It's quite comfortable back here, and the view out is impressive thanks to the low window line and large glass opening. There's two air vents down here but none in the B pillars, and this hump down here is a little tall because other markets get an all-wheel drive version, but not for Malaysia. For boot space, the Tiguan is class-leading with 615 litres of space. That's nearly 100 litres larger than the CR-V and almost 200 litres more than the CX-5. If you need more space, simply fold the seats down via a lever and you get 1,655 litres of space. You can even fold the front passenger seat completely flat for those IKEA runs, and that is something not many cars can do. In terms of safety, the Tiguan gets the usual array of kit, including 6 airbags and ISOFIX mounting points. Unfortunately though, there's no driver's assistance tech such as Mazda's iActive Sense on the CX-5 and Honda Sensing for the CR-V. Now, let's drive this baby. As mentioned earlier, this car gets a 1.4-litre turbocharged engine. Is it enough? Surprisingly, yes, for the most part. The engine makes 150 PS and 250 Nm of torque, all of which are sent to the front wheels through a 6-speed wet dual-clutch transmission. As a comparison, the CR-V's 1.5-litre turbo makes more power with 193 PS, and the CX-5's 2.2-litre turbo diesel makes 175 PS and a whopping 420 Nm of torque. So in terms of outright pace and power, the Tiguan falls a little bit short. Sure, it's nice to have all that power and whatnot, but remember, it's a family car and it's just not built for that. Instead, it provides a very smooth drive, and the 6-speed DSG is a much better transmission than the CR-V's CVT. Gear shifts here feel very solid and it's very quick, although I really wish that it has that coasting function from the Jetta to save a little bit more fuel. Volkswagen says the wet clutch DSG is the main candidate for the Tiguan because it's more suited for heavy-duty applications. You know, since the Tiguan is heavier and it's meant to take a little bit more of a beating, so yeah. During city driving, there's a slight lag when moving off from standstill, but that's a common characteristic of a dual-clutch transmission. This you can get used to in a few days of driving, after which it becomes just like any other automatic gearboxes, except it's much quicker. In terms of handling, the Tiguan is actually a very agile car. The body tends to roll a little bit more in the corners when you carry too much speed, but it's still nimbler than the CR-V, which is a comfort-oriented SUV. That said though, the CX-5 still takes the cake for being the most engaging to drive. At the end of the day though, drivability is not very important because it's still an SUV at the end of the day. What's more important are things like maneuverability and comfort, both of which it does very well. It's not as comfortable as the CR-V, that's for sure, and the ride becomes somewhat busier when driven over patchy roads. I think this can be attributed to the fact that it rides on 18-inch wheels and Kumho tires, but out there on the freeways, this thing can rake up the miles in relative comfort. It's poised at speeds and you feel confident driving because the car feels so planted all the time. The steering is a little bit dead off-center, but the good news is when you're out there driving on the freeways, it's not going to be as twitchy to drive as the CX-5. For refinement, again, it's decent but not the best. The engine for one sounds pretty decent for a 1.4-litre engine, and it really comes to life, especially from the mid-range and up. It doesn't sound like a 1.4-litre engine, but I really like how it sounds here. It's not bad. There's a little bit of wind noise coming into the cabin when you're driving past 110 kilometers an hour, but if you choose the bike rack, which this unit has, you're gonna hear it from 80 kilometers per hour. And there's not even a bike up there. Otherwise, it's a very quiet cabin, and it will be even better with comfort-oriented tires. So that's the Tiguan Highline for you. For 170,000 ringgit, I think it's a great option for those looking to buy an SUV in this price bracket because it strikes a very fine balance between the very comfortable Honda CR-V and very fun to drive Mazda CX-5. On top of that, it has that very snazzy LCD digital instrument cluster. Who can forget that, right? Now that I've said my piece, let me pass the ball over to you. What do you think of the Tiguan, and will you buy it over its Japanese counterparts? Let us know in the comment section below. As usual, thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel. This has been Matthew. I will see you in the next one.